So welcome back to all of you. Now, these are your textbooks prescribed by NCERT. You have two volumes of the textbooks, part 1 and part 2 again. The cover pages, I have put the images of the cover pages of the textbook, and you can download it directly from the internet. We will send you the instructions across in the group. You can either download it or you can buy it, and it is your option to just keep it saved for your reference sake. Now the part 1 syllabus comprises of not-for-profit organizations and partnership accounts. There are two categorizations in respect to your syllabus in part 1. I am talking presently only on part 1 syllabus. It has two important chapters, not-for-profit organization and partnership accounts as such. Well, this is your syllabus in respect to your accountancy. You have chapter 1, accounting for not-for-profit organization, and it has these sub-chapters as such. And you also have chapter 2, where we are going to begin with chapter 2. I am not going to start from chapter 1 as such. Today's class, we shall begin our learning from chapter 2, that is accounting for partnership. And then you also have accounting for partnership, basic concepts. And then you have the third chapter, reconstitution of partnership firm, which speaks on the admission of a partner. It is quite a big chapter as such. And then retirement or death of a partner. And chapter 5 is on dissolution of partnership firm. So altogether there are 5 chapters. From part 1 textbook, you have 5 chapters to study. As I told you already, we shall begin from chapter 2, that is partnership fundamentals. Now here, I would like to ask you as to from your previous study, if you could remember, the business units can be categorized on the basis of ownership, management, and we can talk about the various forms of business organizations. If you could recollect, there are forms of business organizations like sole proprietorship, partnership. You also have joint stock company, Hindu undivided family firm, and so on. Now, recollect your study from the last year. What is a sole proprietorship? The sole proprietorship is any business unit which is owned, managed, and controlled by a single individual. Am I right? So it is owned, managed, and controlled by a single individual. Now, what are the limitations of a sole proprietorship? What are the drawbacks? What are the problems that you have in respect to the sole proprietorship? Because one person invests capital, there will be very limited capital and lesser skill. What do you mean by lesser skill? One person is the sole decision maker for the entire business unit. So naturally what happens? That he will not be very enough skillful in the decision making process. There is nobody to consult for the decision making as such. And the other limitation would be one person ownership. That means more risk. Do you remember what I told you about the sole proprietorship in the previous class? He risks all and owns all. So naturally, the risk of a sole proprietorship will be very heavy. less specialization in managing the business. In case if he is good, specialized, no problem. But if a person with less specialization comes, naturally the management of the business would be a big problem as such. And then what are the other problems of the sole proprietorship? You also have less opportunities of expansions. See, there will be some drawbacks of the sole proprietorship for the expansions. That is, one person has to manage the entire business. How much he will be able to expand and how many ideas he will be able to put into it is a big question mark. So all these limitations as such would lead to the evolving of a new kind of business ownership, which we call it as partnership. So out of the limitations takes the birth of partnership. Now, when you have more than one person into the business ownership, naturally what happens, you tell me, there will be more money coming in because more people coming and investing the money in the form of capital, automatically there will be large flow of money. Similarly, decision making, lesser skill, we said lesser specialization is the problem drawback of the sole proprietorship. But when more people are moving into the decision making process, automatically what happens? The better decision makings will happen and will result in the partnership as such. So I can say that partnership is because of the limitations of the sole proprietorship. The birth of the partnership form of business organization is because of the limitations, that is to overcome the limitations of the sole proprietorship form of business organization. Well, what exactly do you mean by partnership? Partnership is an association of two or more persons. What do you mean by association? Grouping together, coming together into one particular organization. So partnership is an association of two or more persons. When I say two or more persons again would give you here a question mark. How many more persons? So do you remember the minimum number to start a partnership would be, of course, two. One person cannot enter into partnership all by themselves. So naturally, two people is a must. Two persons must come together to start a partnership. When I say more persons, the question arises, what is the maximum number of persons to be allowed in partnership? The Companies Act would say that the maximum number of persons allowed into the partnership would be 100. Earlier last year, you remember or not, we used to study like 10 in the case of banking business and 20 in the case of non-banking business. Now, the amendments have been done. The total number of people allowed for partnership at present in India is 100. Remember, the minimum number of partners would be 2. The maximum number of partners allowed into partnership in India is 100. Who agree to carry on a legal business? It is very important that the business must be legal. Just imagine Veerappan doing some kind of illegal business in the forest. He is not partnership here. So it must be allowed by the government. So we term it to be a legal business. Jointly, they should do it together and share the profits or losses arising from that of the business. So it should be the intention of the partnership has to be earning profit. If they do some service, if they do partnership doing some service and they don't want to earn profits, again, we don't call it as a partnership. Then it automatically becomes a non-profit organization. So you must understand that every partnership unit aims for earning profit and they share the profits earned from out of the business in an agreed ratio. Now you can read along these lines. When I say it, you can just, come along with me here in reading. Partnership is an association of two or more persons who agree to carry on a legal business jointly and share the profits or losses arising from that of that particular business in an agreed ratio. Now, there are two words here underlined. Look at them. You need to define who is a partner. Every time last academic year, I have been giving this instruction. Many times you use the words firm and company in a very clumsy manner. I have corrected most of the students over there. See, persons making an agreement to carry business for common purpose are called as partners. So the individuals become partners individually. And the whole entity, the collective name given for all the partners would be a partnership firm. Imagine A, B, C. There are three people named A, Mr. A, Mr. B, and Mr. C. Mr. A is called as a partner. Mr. B is called as a partner. Mr. C is also called as a partner. When you put them together, we should call the entity as a partnership firm. You can call them as ABC partnership firm, or if they give some name, okay. So they will be called by such a name, A Brothers Partnership Firm, or something like unique name that could be given. The name of that entity would be partnership firm, and individually the people who are doing the business, individuals, are referred to as partners. Now, this particular chart shows you the definition of partnership. Remember the year 1932. This was the year when you have this Partnership Act being passed. Section 4 of the Indian Partnership Act 1932 defines partnership as the relation between persons who have agreed to share the profits of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. Section 4, that should come to your memory. Please note it down, write it down, write it down. Section 4 of the Indian Partnership Act 1932 defines partnership as the relation between persons who have agreed to share the profits of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. Here, the partners agree to share the profits of a business, but the business should be carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. Which means that all of them become equal owners of the business. All the partners stand as equal owners of the business. Ownership, control, and management lies in the hands of each one of the partners. I hope you should have understood the definition. Now you can recollect and tell me what are the important characteristics that I have told you about the partnership form of organization. Just recollect yourself. I have some points put here. You can as well recollect from the definition and from the meaning that we have discussed. Two or more persons to constitute partnership. Partnership is the result of an agreement. What is agreement? A sort of understanding between the partners. This can be either orally done or can it be in writing also. Please remember, in India, the oral agreement is also allowed. So partnership is the result of an agreement Agreement, which refers to either an oral agreement, an understanding, or it could be in the written form. Agreement to do business and to share its profits. Now, agreement should be only for the business purpose. That is very important. And the business always aims at making profit. So, when you have an agreement to live together, that is not partnership, that becomes marriage. When you have an agreement to do service, again, that doesn't amount for partnership. So, agreement compulsorily should refer to doing the business, which aims at making the profits and also to share the profits. As I already told you, this agreement between the partners can either be oral or in writing part. And agreement must always be to do some lawful business. Illegal business is not permissible under partnership. This requires your attention. There are two new words, principal agent relationship. This can be very easily explained. Each one of the partner has a principal agent relationship. What do you mean by principal agent relationship? One says the other one has to listen, the other one says that everybody has to listen. That means an equal kind of ownership, an equal kind of communication, an equal kind of relationship exists among the partners. Imagine the class, your class. There is a principal agent relationship. I'll just quickly explain you with a with a small example as such. One person from your class is always detrimental and doing a lot of nonsense in the class. Now, what would all the teachers say about your class? Your class is noisy. Now, all of you start complaining, no, madam, that particular student only is making noise and we are not liable. No, the entire class becomes responsible and that one particular student will be influencing the class. The same kind of relationship you can imagine with a partnership. One partner does, the owners, the responsibility will go into every other partner as such. That is why we say principal agent relationship among partners. The liability of the partners is unlimited. What do you mean by the liability of the partners? Last year also, this particular discussion came. The personal properties of each one of the partner is at stake. Meaning, if any huge loss happens in the course of the business activity, automatically, if the firm, now I use the word, what I have explained you already, you know what a firm stands for. It is an indication of all the partners, right? So if the firm is unable to pay back the losses, then automatically what happens, the personal properties of the partners will be risked. Each one of the partner has to sell away his personal property and he has to come forward to pay the losses to the external parties, just like sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship cannot say I am different and my business is different. We cannot say. Similarly, the partners also do not enjoy a separate entity concept. Here, the partners suffer from unlimited liability, meaning their personal properties is always at stake, at risk. That is why partners have unlimited liability. Now, with this, one more small discussion as such. Partnership deed. What exactly do you mean by partnership deed? When the partnership agreement is written and signed by all the partners and is duly stamped according to the Stamps Act, it is called partnership deed. Now, please recollect that an agreement is the base for any partnership. First thing you should understand is there should be an agreement to begin the partnership form of business organization. When I say agreement in India, both written agreement as well as the oral agreement is permissible. Now, when oral agreement is being done, oral means what? They talk to each other. They say, all right, you do this, I will do this. You bring this much money, I will also invest this much amount, and they will share their work as such. When orally it is being done, no doubt it is allowed, but that is not called as a deed. when the same agreement of how much to invest, what to do, how much work to be shared, such things, if it is put in the written form, if they write and keep, and it should be signed also by all the partners, it should be duly stamped. What do you mean by duly stamped? There is one Stamps Act which says unless it is stamped and registered, the documents will not become valid. So when you have the partnership agreement written, signed by all the partners, that they have accepted for the conditions given in the deed, and is duly stamped according to the Stamp Act, then naturally it is called as a partnership deed. Please note it down, this one point. Partnership deed means when the partnership agreement is written and signed by all the partners. Usually an often asked question, should the partnership deed be in writing? No. The answer would be no. It can be either orally done or it can be in writing. So if it is in writing, then it should be called as a partnership deed. In India, both oral agreement and written agreement, both are accepted. Well, I hope you have listened to me better. So here, let me just quickly revise as such. So I have taught you the limitations of the sole proprietorship, and then we move to the partnership form of business organization. I have also clearly explained you as to what are the basic features, characteristic features of partnership form of organization. Definition of partnership form of organization. When I say definition, you may have to quote the section as well as the act. Section 4 of the Indian Partnership Act 1932. So the quotation of the act as well as the section is compulsory. And then moving on to the next.